What's up, angels? It's the West Coast Bells, and we are here to review Life After Death by Sister Souljah. This book is the sequel to The Coldest Winter Ever, and we've waited for it about 22 years. My name is Misha,
And I'm tired.
and if you haven't already, please don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and hit the notification bell for your bells.
Please hit the bell for your bells.
All right, so we're going to review Life After Death, but just for those who need a quick little refresher on who Winter Santiaga is, she's a chick from Brooklyn. She was raised in a family where her dad was like the that nigga. He was top D boy. He was they lived a really lavish lifestyle. She lived with both of her parents for most of her life, and then her father got taken down. They raided the house, they took everything. Life as she knew it was over. She spent the rest of her life in the coldest winter ever, trying to get back on top, trying to make a name for herself, trying to show everybody that she was still that chick.
And by the rest of her life, you mean like the rest of her teenage years, trying to get back on top and reclaim that same status that her father created for her? Is that what you mean?
Absolutely. And when I say she was trying to get back on top, yeah, she was trying to get back to the level of life that she was living with her dad and stuff. So um, she did that to a fault. Hey, Energy Marijuana, hey, Miss Thing Cakes, y'all know we love y'all.
Yeah,
Um,
Misha, you do have a little echo again. I don't know where you are, but you sound like you're in a tunnel again.
oh my goodness.
It's okay. Let me go. You try to work on your sound, and let me just go from here real quick. So basically, the coldest winter ever. It highlighted Winter Santiaga's story in basically a drug family or being the daughter of a drug lord. And she had everything as a kid and always felt like she was that chick 'cause her mother was that chick. Well, when he went to jail, everybody fell off. Mama became a crackhead. Her little sisters got her. She was in the street and obviously that time that he was looking for
Wait a
peace.
minute, your sound got distorted. It's distorted a little bit.
Okay, can you let me quiet down? Can you hear me better now?
I can hear you, but it sounds like
Your microphone because something's coming into your thing. I don't know why we did this before I started. Now it's gone. Say something.
there. Oh well, I'm here right now.
Okay. Well, can you hear me okay now?
It sounds a little something. Sounds distorted with your sound. It's muffled. Yeah, Mr. K said it's muffled, and it's a book, you guys. It's a book that we're reading. It's the sequel to The Coldest Winter Ever. I don't know if y'all ever read it or if y'all ever got into Sister Soldier's writings or whatever, but she wrote a book called The Coldest Winter Ever back in 1999. And in between, she wrote a bunch of books about spin off characters, but she never wrote what happened to Winter Santiaga, who was the main character in The Coldest Winter Ever. And now we just got it.
Okay. So, Misha, do me a favor and mute your microphone
Okay.
because I'm coming back into your microphone. Can you mute your mic? Okay, that sounds better. Can you hear me now better?
Yes.
Okay, keep your microphone muted so I can go ahead and get this off real quick. So, um, as the head of the family, the drug lord Ricky Santiago, which was Winter Santiaga's father, he got taken down in a huge drug raid in Brooklyn, New York, and got everything taken from the family. The mama became a crackhead. One of the daughters got put into the system, and the other two daughters, that's a whole nother story that we'll probably discuss later. But anyhow,
And
Winter
she
was
doesn't
left.
mean to be insensitive and say crackhead. What she means is that the mother got severely addicted to crack cocaine when she
She was
says
a
crack.
crackhead. She was a crackhead. She lost her teeth, lost her hair, got real skinny, and you know the things that happen to crackheads. She was a crackhead. So
I'm,
anyway, I mean what I said. I don't know what you would have said, but I mean what I said. So anyway,
for people that we may have people overseas that listen and they're not really sure what a crackhead is.
oh,
So
okay.
I'm clarifying for the people in the back. There you go.
Okay. All right. So, moving right along, in that story of Winter Santiago, like we said, she spent her youth trying to get back to the lifestyle that her father had afforded her, and she never quite got there. In the end of that story, she ended up dealing with another drug dealer, not unlike her father, and that's how she ended up taking the fall and doing a mandatory 15-year sentence behind bars, which leads us right into Life After Death, the sequel to The Coldest Winter Ever by Sister Souljah. Chapter one starts out with the same Winter. Winter has always thought that she was just that chick. She always felt like she was better. She's on this whole bow down to me mentality. She just That's just how she feels about herself. I ain't saying nothing is wrong with it, but as the story went on in The Coldest Winter Ever, just like as the story went on in Life After Death, it kind of got old. It started making you think like, is this girl crazy? But let's just go from here because apparently she is that chick. So while she was still in jail, just about a month, I believe, before she got out, she started negotiating with her brother-in-law, Elisha Manuel, who is her little sister, Portia Santiago's husband. He is a high-power producer in the industry, and he produces television shows, movies, and things of that sort. So she negotiated with him a basically a docu series or a reality TV program um, about her life, about Winter Santiago, that would showcase her basically coming out of prison and doing her thing and, bouncing back like I guess the Santiagos are supposed to do. So she had negotiated everything. She basically from day one was like, I want the red carpet. I want the Bentley. I need midnight to pick me up. I need cameras. I want this outfit with this white mini and this mink coat, and I need everything just on super luxurious style. You
And
want to
wait,
say something?
just to add on what you're saying, and I don't mean to interrupt you,
This is
but she did that with the encouragement of her little sister, who she was gonna Winter was gonna back down from the deal at first, and then she heard Portia, who she didn't know it was even on the line, say, "Negotiate what you want, girl. Get your paper." Get what you want out of this deal. So she ended up negotiating all of these lavish things upon her release with the encouragement of her sister. That's it. That's all I wanted to say about that part.
okay. Thank you for chiming that in because I definitely wasn't going to include that in this little mini thingy that we're doing. But But yeah, she did. When she was negotiating, she did get the counsel of her sister and the approval. Like, listen, go for it, get what it is that you want, and that's what she did. She got an $800,000 deal, along with the deal for her homegirls that she'd been locked up with for a while. And lo and behold, one of those girls was Simone. Now, if you read the first story, you know that Simone is the girl that she got into the fight with that basically made the police come and get her locked up for 15 years
Oh, the
because she
brick
got
went
busted with a bunch of drugs. What you say, Misha?
She threw the brick through the window.
Mm-hmm.
And while Midnight was trying to hold her back and try
Not
to
midnight bullet.
separate the fight, or not Midnight Bullet, yeah, she cut her face.
Mm-hmm. So not only did she basically was the catalyst to her getting locked up for 15 years, she cut her face as well. Apparently, there's another part to the story that we'll get into with the next chapter, and we're about to wrap chapter one up. But this chapter one was about um, Winter negotiating her release and all the things that she would have and the perks that she and her homegirls would have getting out of prison. Okay, so as we move on to chapter two, Sister Souljah didn't hesitate to basically snatch us up by the collar and get us all the way together and had Winter shot. Now, me, I'm already like, okay, if Winter dead, I don't even want to read this book no more. I don't even want to read it no more. I don't even want to read it no
I
more.
was discouraged. I was so discouraged. Like, are you
I was
kidding
done.
me? Oh,
I was
not
done.
Winter. Not Winter. Please, not Winter.
So Winter then got shot and she's dead. She's basically dead. And so but she's still trying to figure out if she dead, like we trying to figure out if she dead, right? So she starts going through things in her mind of who could have betrayed her because first of all, what I may have skipped in the first chapter is that she wanted to get revenge on Bullet and Simone and other people she felt did her family wrong and brought her down, from the status that she was at. So in chapter two, Sister Soldier that had went to kill. Okay, she killed, she dead. And while she's trying to figure out if she's dead, we're trying to figure out if she's dead. And she starts going through the scenarios in her mind. And all of a sudden, she's in a room where her homegirls, who she was hooking up, including Simone, was there. And she hears them talking about what happened. And basically, Simone confesses to shooting Winter. Winter is dead. Winter is dead. Okay.
Yes,
At this point in the book, Winter is dead.
and it just so happens that she's at the after party that she had planned for the day of the season premiere of her reality show.
Right.
So this is one of the places that her mind took her after she died.
Well, while she was dead, yes. Okay, so moving right along, as her thoughts continued, she started to think about her father and how he would never let anyone get away with, betraying him and things of that nature. And she always held him to such a high regard, and she loved him so much that it was natural that he came to mind when she died. So her wherever her mind goes at this point, it seems that's where she's being taken. So all of a sudden, she was in the jail cell with Ricky Santiago, and she's looking at him and admiring.
Wait a minute. Don't skip over the part that while she was at the party, she heard her homegirls and she heard that Simone was the one that killed her.
I said that. I said that already. Simone confessed pretty much to
Okay,
shooting
boom.
her, and she was actually bragging about it. She said, "Yeah, I killed the bitch," and she said that she killed her because she killed her because Winter killed her baby. But what
Mm-hmm.
happened was she was pregnant with the boy. Please mute your mic. Please mute your mic because I can hear me coming back through your mic. So while she was at that after party listening to them and listening to Simone confess, Simone said why she did it and everything. She said she killed her baby. Winter killed her baby, but that wasn't what happened. Simone was pregnant when she started that fight with Winter, so she lost her baby and they both went to jail. So, that's how that happened. But Winter never snitched. Winter never said nothing about nobody. So I'm just wondering how. Well, I guess she would have got caught because the police pulled up on all of them. But I just don't see her doing 15 years for that. I wonder what Simone did. I don't think I was paying attention to figure out why she got locked up for so many years.
Why Winter got locked up for so many years, or why Simone got locked up for so many years?
Why Simone got locked
Ooh, you know what? I don't even think it said in the book why she was locked up for so many years. But I'm gonna go back through both of them just to make sure, just to find out.
up? Okay, by the way, just to let y'all know, okay, go ahead and mute your thing, Nisha. By the way, just to let you all know, Misha read the Audible, or should I say, listened to the Audible book. She took the lazy route, and I read all 400, what was it, 386 pages, 346 pages. I read every last page, including the pages about the author. I read a book from the front to the back. From the very front cover to the back cover. She listened to the middle. That's all. I'm gonna put that out there real quick. So she over there winging it, but that's okay.
You know what JJ said? He gave. Wait, okay, so wait, let's go through these comments real quick. Do you think she was more descriptive and imaginative in this book, or was the first more creative? The first one was way more creative,
I'm
hands.
gonna
Well,
put it
oh,
like
I don't know. I don't
I,
know.
I disagree. I'm gonna put it like this. In the first book, she was writing about something that we could have actually experienced as people. In this book, she's literally writing from the perspective of a dead person. How do you do that? It's nothing more creative than that. And as we go along in the book, you'll see exactly what I'm talking about. So,
No, yeah, that's true. That's true, and that's what I was about to say. Like, I don't know because it's definitely from the viewpoint of something that no one in the world that I know has ever experienced. And JJ said he doesn't know if he liked Nia Long narrating the book. He felt like her New York accent was forced, and it was definitely forced. It was forced a little bit because on some words she kind of got it a little bit, and then on the other words, she was going back to Cali or wherever she from because it's definitely not the East Coast. She's not an East Coast native. Period. um, we were in different spaces when we read that first book. Definitely,
well, you know that's
definitely.
how they do with the portray city girls. Just like Taraji P. Henson girl, she went and basically, we don't talk like Kelly. We don't talk like that. Yeah.
You sound a little muffled again. And he
Okay,
said
can
he
you
wouldn't want to hang
can
around
you
Winter
mute your
now.
mic?
I wouldn't either.
Can
I
you
wouldn't
mute your
either.
mic? Okay, can you hear me better now?
No, no, something's going on.
This doesn't make sense.
There it is. Wait, wait, wait. It came in a little bit better.
Okay, can you hear me talking to you now?
It's in and out. It's in and out.
Okay, well, we're just gonna have to get through this, and you're gonna have to
Let's.
mute your mic.
Okay.
Yes, mute your mic. Thank you. Okay, so where were we? We were at the part where she had left the party and she's still in a dead space or a dead state, basically traveling as a soul, it seems. And she is um, going to wherever her mind takes her. So her mind took her to the after party first, which is where all of her friends or homegirls were that were to be in the reality show with her and the ones that were locked up with her. That's where she heard the confession. That's where she heard Simone bragging and talking shit about killing her. And then immediately she starts thinking about her father. So her mind takes her there, and her soul ends up in the cell with her father. Because for those of you that don't know, he's locked up on 25 to life for everything that he did as a drug lord. So she sees him, she's admiring him, basically the way she always does, almost to the point of like worship. She really is beyond love the way that she feels about her father. But that was a short scene. Basically, the guard came and he was basically about to deliver the news about Winter. And he says, "Your daughter." And she blacks out and moves on to the next place that her mind takes her, which is to a palace out in a whole nother country. She was somewhere in the desert. She saw these two guys in the backyard and they were fighting over a Santiago girl. She automatically assumed that she immediately thought, okay, maybe it's one of my sisters, just like that. She just didn't know which one. But as she started to travel that compound and that space and that mansion and that area, she started to realize where she was. Um, she was very descriptive in this chapter and spent a little more time on this than I would have liked to see. She talked about the shoes that were in the front and all of the designer things that she saw. She ended up picking up these glass slippers that I believe she said was, I don't know if she said Balenciaga or something, but she picked
Yeah,
up
she said there were Balenciagas.
that she ended up putting on, and she's walking through the house. She goes to the kitchen. She described everything from the plates to the pots, just the whole layout. The rooms are round and oval shaped, and she was just really impressed by the layout of this mansion. She was like, "Oh, somebody really bad got to live here. Like this is top notch. This is, for a bad bitch or whatever." That how Winter talks.
Hold on,
So
before you move on though, look, JJ has said it's like incest the way she describes her daddy and that he fired. He in my mind he is fired. Like he is. I mean, as anybody who has read these books, don't you feel like Ricky Santiago is the shit? I mean, seriously, seriously. I just even though
sure do.
even with him doing time, it just she talks about him like, oh my goodness, it's just awesome. But yeah, it is a little bit of she's like really in love with him. Like she wants
Yeah,
her man just like her daddy.
she really does, and that's how she got caught up in the first place. But go ahead and mute yourself again so I don't come back through your thing. Okay, thank you. Okay, so look, as she's going through this compound, she finally makes it to the bedroom or bathroom or something like that, and she sees this chocolate man hugged up with this. I want to say the lady is of like an Indian culture, and she straight immediately figures out who the man is because she knows that back, she knows that skin tone, she knows that voice, and it was Midnight. So she watched Midnight interact with one of his wives as he was telling her why she was the main wife, even though he had three or four other wives, and they did their thing, got in the shower. Winter then took her clothes off as a dead woman and then got in the shower with them, was about to get in there and get her man right. And as she was getting in, they were coming out. So I guess they had finished. She was a little salty about it, especially having to see the one man that she really basically loved outside of her father be with another woman. So from there, that's when the story starts getting greasy. Um, she is leaving out the front door. She's still admiring all the gold. Everything in the house is, made out of the best quality. There's pearl, there's ivory, there's gold. It's just immaculate based on her description. So as she's leaving out of the front door, she enters complete darkness, total and complete darkness. And I believe this is where we're at chapter 4. She can't see anything. She doesn't know if she can hear anything because she doesn't know if there's anything to hear because she can't see anything. So as she's in the darkness, somehow this girl's still thinking about being on top and how to get back on top and all this.
And how she looks and just everything. Even like I can't see, but I know I got these boots on. It is really
Yeah.
crazy. That was really
So
crazy.
she's basically traveling through a realm with a white mini dress on and thigh high red snake skin boots and a little short mink or whatever she had on, a little thing to cover his shoulders. But she said she was sitting in a particular space for what seemed like a long period. And A guy. Wait, did that nigga pull up first, or did the bomber girl come through first? I don't forgot. I want to say it was the
That
bomber
nigga
girl.
put up first. It was no, it was that nigga first.
Okay, so that nigga came through first. Um, it's a whole man telling her everything that she want to hear. He pulled up in a BMW, and you know how materialistic Winter is. That was all she needed. Somebody pull up in the car, look like they got something, and talking the way that she want them to talk. And he even told her his dick was longer than his tail. And I was like, me being just fresh off human, I would have, you know what I'm saying?
What? You,
What you mean your tail?
you tell. What?
So apparently this being had a tail. And but she still was super attracted to him in this realm that she was in. So she goes off with him, and they get together. She hasn't seen any light in what seemed like to her days or months or weeks, whatever. It was a long time. But she gets with him and she finally starts seeing light because he got fired. I wonder why he got fired, right? So he has these little torches around his bed. And when they pull up to his house, they go in. He has torches around his bed and little bitty torches throughout the space to light a little bit so you can see just a little.
And
And
everything counted in sixes. Everything was counted in sixes.
yes,
Like there's six this, there's six that, there's six this, six that.
right. And he obviously loved the number six. So he he tells her to jump in the shower. Or no, she says she's gonna go freshen up. He says, go ahead, but not too clean though. He wanted to keep it a little stinky because he said he will clean the rest out. Now, right then, that's another thing that was sent up a red flag for me, fresh off human. I'll be like, why he wanna like, eat dookie, or but that's what he wanted. He wanted the dookie.
But it's not necessarily dookie between there because you don't clean it that good. You know what I mean? It's not.
That's fecal matter. That's fecal matter. So, anyways, we gonna move on, right? From there, she goes ahead, takes a shower, freshens up. She comes back out, and like he said he would, they started getting it in. He started, licking her and cleaning her and doing what he do with his tongue. She said his tongue was real long, and his thing apparently was longer than his tail. She confirmed that. So what happened is she was getting it good from the front, and then he just flipped her over and hit it from the back. And when I say hit it from the back, he went into the bottom, the buttocks, the
He
anal.
went somewhere else unless his tail is like a pigtail. He didn't just go to the bottom. He came out her mouth and some more stuff. I'm not playing seriously.
No, he did. He did. But he did go end up having anal sex with her. And immediately after the anal, she turned into a snake. A snake she turned into. And she was still there for a minute, but I want to say soon after she turned into a snake, she ended up back in the dark again. She ended up back in the dark. So she was in the dark for a minute, sitting there, and she couldn't figure out what had happened or why she was back in the dark, can't hear nothing, can't see nothing. And then all of a sudden, there was a real bad smell, this real sewer smell that she kept smelling, like a real stinking, nasty, somebody, what is this in here? Is something dead in here smell? And so finally, after some time, she sees this greenish light come through, and she sees like stars of rain and smells of Misha, please mute your thing.
Oh shoot.
She smells this really good smell. And immediately after smelling the scent, like a really nice fragrance and seeing the green light and the star rain coming, she sees a girl emerge. And the girl is basically trying to show her a lighter side of things and get her out of the dark. And so she's talking to her. She's giving her everything she needs to know. Winter is still waiting on the dude to come back to get her back because she just know he ain't leave her like that. So she's waiting on him to come back. And that's when I believe she called herself the Bomber Girl, but she also identified herself as part of the UBS, which they ended up telling us what UBS was later in the story. So after, let me plug my charger back in. Sorry. So as she was telling her, giving her the game, she was like, "You don't recognize me at all." Immediately, I knew who the girl was. I just didn't know how they were going to tell Winter. So the girl is trying to tell her how to save herself from this darkness. She gives her a book, she gives her a pouch, and the book is basically like a book of guidance, she called it. A lot of people.
We should move it along faster too, like because the UBS is the unborn souls, and the girl that she ran into is the
Hold
dark.
on, you skipping the whole part if you do that. You skipping the whole part if you do that. So anyway, listen.
The highlights.
Here's the highlights. So listen. The man comes back, the one with the tail, and she had already told her name is his name is Lucifer 66, but you can call him that nigga since you think that's what he is. So that's how he got the name that nigga. Or she said that's what they call him, that nigga. So as they're going through and as she's talking to her, he pulls up again in the BMW. Winter ain't trying to hear nothing that the girl say. She basically willing to sell her soul to live whatever kind of lifestyle she wants to live. So she goes back with the man, and this time, she is with him. He says, the routine, and they go through the same motions. But as they pulled up, she did notice that the whole door was blown off. It was some damage to the property, and he let her know that it was the UBS that had done that. Or no, he said it was one of his jealous exes or something like that had done that, and she didn't realize that it was a UBS. The UBS is a whole crew that tries to save the souls and bring the people, and we'll take more about the UBS a little bit later. But as she's there, she goes ahead and takes another shower so they can get it in again. She smokes some weed. She loves his weed. She's like, everything is better here. The weed is better, sex better, everything. Okay, so then they get it on again. And he sticks her, anal again. And she turns into a dog. Now, this time, she stays a dog and he keeps her and he cares for her. But this other thing comes over called the succubus. If you look up what a succubus is, it's a female demon that has sex with men while they're asleep. This book got real dark real fast, y'all. I'm gonna let y'all know. And I did have a bad dream in a weird ass dream while I was reading this shit. And
Me
I
too.
did not usually read.
Me too. I sent you a message because it was like 666 something. I was like, this is just crazy. This
I was like, I don't know what's going on with this Soldier, but this is not cool. So the demon comes in and he ends up having sex with the demon while she watches as a dog. And I think the demon can feel something in her or feel something about her. But anyways, the demon leaves, and Winter put it together that that's his ugly ex or something like that. Okay, so he kept her and he took care of her and fed her real well. He even kind of, performed a form of bestiality by fingering her as a dog, and she called it her little dog pussy. I was just like two through, like, sister Souljah, really? Like, this was crazy. But as he had, she went to sleep one day as the dog or was taking a nap, and he left. And the succubus came in, and she snatched her up, and she threw her against the wall and actually hurt her, but snatched her back up. And she was out cold as the dog. When she came to, she was in a cage and did not know where she was, but she was surrounded by a bunch of other animals. So she started trying to bark to find out where she was because she knew there were other dogs there. And she figured if she could communicate as a dog, then she could figure out what was going on. So she started hearing other dogs barking back. And that's what told her kind of what was happening. She was there for days, or for what she said felt like six feedings. There goes the number six again. Six feedings. And they fed them pellets or something like that. And then all of a sudden, this light comes through, and all of the animals are trailing out, after each other. They're leaving the space that they're in, that they've been trapped in for some time. And so, as it turns out, it took, a long time for her to get out to the front of the line, but she realizes where she is. She's in like a convent where the nuns are. And as the animals go through and pass that threshold, they turn back human or subhuman or whatever you want to call it, dead humans. And I think that we have kind of gone, far enough in this part of the story. But if you want to add something, Misha, I feel like we could save this for part two because this is where it really starts to get really greasy.
I do. I want to add.
What happened? I can't hear you.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
You can hear me now?
Yes, I can hear you now.
Okay, am I echoing?
No, you sound better than you sounded the whole broadcast.
Okay, I plugged my mic back in. I couldn't I couldn't figure it out, but I think that's what it was. So the guy that she had met, that nigga, he was actually the incubus. The incubus is the opposite of the succubus. The incubus is the man that has sex with the women while they're sleeping. The male demon that has sex with the women while they're sleeping. And it's interesting how they're working hand in hand, and the succubus and the incubus are a couple of some sort. So
Yeah, they are. It's something like that. Only it's a lot weirder than that, and that gets told later in the book as well. Their true relationship. It turns out this is a whole freak show that what's her name created, that Sister Soldier created in this book. If you read it, like immediately, you're gonna know that you're into something that you probably never experienced before unless you are into dark shit. And I'm not.
yes. Yes, she said it must be good though. You know what? It is a good book. It is a good book. It's almost the equal but opposite of the coldest winter ever, because Winter had lived life so colorfully, and she tells the story in this book of death extremely colorfully, and it's from the point of view, is from the perspective of the dead person. I've
Right,
never had
right.
someone, read a book from someone who's traveled, through all these different realms in depth. Even though I've
Yeah.
heard stories of people being in comas and how they, saw their body and just how they saw angels and things like that.
It's
I've
crazy.
never read a book like that. Yeah, it's super
Real quick,
crazy.
Nisha, have you checked our Facebook comments? Okay, there's
Turn me
Dobby.
up. Yeah. Turn me up.
Okay.
Yeah.
What up, Dob? Okay, yeah, so
Hey,
this
she
book
said it's.
from
Hey,
it is weird.
the Eminem crew said it's weird. It is weird, but it
It's
is
not weird. It's actually just really dark. There's a
it's
whole
weird to me.
20
Like
chapters
it
that's
is.
super dark in this book. And when I say dark, I mean darkness like hell dark. Like it's crazy. From a literary perspective, this is probably some of her best work to because she's able to write from the perspective of the dead woman is just amazing in itself. She's written from the perspective of a little girl, from the perspective of a teen, from the perspective.
It's extremely creative, but you know,
She's
with
even written from the perspective of a man
yeah, with extreme
with
creativity,
midnight, the midnight
something is
series.
gonna be a little eccentric. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah,
You know, it travels into the world of eccentricity
and
as
that's
soon as
exactly
it
what this
gets so
was.
creative.
But
You
it
know,
went from creative to really freaking dark. I can't stress that enough. If you have not read this book and your spirit is very sensitive, I guess mine is because like I couldn't even read it close to time for me to go to bed during that whole space of that book. I could not read it close to time for me to go to bed because I would have like weird ass dreams. Like I dreamed that I was cheating on my husband.
yeah,
Like
I was having a
with,
hard
with,
time.
with
I
something
was
like
having a real hard time too.
an incubus, and he stole my wedding ring off the dresser, and I was trying to choke him and kill him. And he started shooting me. Listen, I do not read stuff like this or even watch anything like that close to the time for me to go to
What
bed.
about what about how she traveled to when she traveled to Midnight's house and she noticed how lavish it was and she said that his wife was living her life like I was just like how many
Oh my God. Okay, so from at this point in the book, Winter is seeming extremely selfish, uneducated, entitled, shitty. She just seemed like a bad person. Just like the type of chick that I wouldn't even fuck with at all, because you just know deep
That's
down
what
she just
JJ
bugs.
said. JJ said we read this at a different time in our lives. So when we
Yeah.
were young, girl, I was like, yeah, bitch, Winter, that's my bitch. But now, no, I'm like,
Mm-mm.
oh my gosh, she did that.
Right. Like now, thinking back to the things that she did in Winter, I'm like, girl, no. No, absolutely not. And then it just so happens that 15 years later, she's still the same person in her mind because she's been incarcerated all this time and has not had a chance to grow. She even said that in her mind, she's still 19 years old or 18 years old, whatever it was.
Well,
Girl,
Mister would love this book, and he would have to read the Coldest Winter Ever first to actually get it though. So yes, read both of them. They are excellent reads for both men and women. I've known men that have read The Coldest Winter Ever, and that's their favorite book, and women. So,
yes, and a deeper love inside. The Porsche Santiago story is also very good. You don't technically have to read the Midnight series, but if you were to read The Coldest Winter Ever, the Porsche Santiago story, and I'm sorry, Life After Death in that order, you'll understand, the context of all three stories or this latest story a lot better, I should say. But this is something, and I'm gonna be careful with even doing this review because, like I said, I can't talk about this too close to going to sleep. So that's why I was trying to hurry up and end it so I can clear my and
so
clear my spirit before I have to get into bed. I'm serious. So this part of the book that we're in, we're really in a dark portion, and she starts doing a bunch of really shady stuff just to try to stay on top, including almost like selling her soul to the devil. Like this is crazy.
like
But
she was just the way in life as she was in death, like or just the way in
exactly,
death as she was in life.
yeah, that's
It was
absolutely true.
crazy to see like all this stuff didn't happen to you and you still won't change. Like what is going on with you? Why is your spirit
It
this
was
way?
Yes. The whole time it was all about being the top bitch and having the best clothes and having the best shoes and stuff. Even though she in a place where it don't matter, it's complete darkness and can't nobody see you and you can't see nothing. She still was on that. I
I wonder
want
if
that. I gotta
yeah,
have
like
my pics and all this.
I'm gonna get
Girl,
my hair done.
it was a complete mess. But anyways, we're gonna cut this live here because we're already 45 minutes in, and we are gonna have to do this in three parts because there was a lot to this book, you guys. We're gonna try to wrap it up in three, but this might extend to four. Honestly, there is so much. But thank you all for the ones that tuned in, and thank you for the ones that are playing this back and commenting. We love you all from the bottom of our hearts and hope that you enjoyed this book just as much as we did. I'm Ty.
And I'm Misha. And if you haven't already, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and hit the notification bell for your bells.
Please hit the bell for your bells.